why is there so much hate for Superman 2025 when the film hasn't even been released? Well, let's just say there's a multitude of factors as to why this is. So in this video essay, I feel like we should discuss why Superman 2025 or James Gunn's Superman movie is actually very important. Passionate DC fans. Now, excluding all the Snyder fanboys out there and all the people who are really just a bunch of Snyder fanboys out there just trying to hate on the movie and like derail it before it even releases, which anybody who preys on the Superman movie's downfall, you're just a hater at that point. But besides that, there are a lot of passionate just DC fans in general who do want to see quality DC movies once again. I mean, I can't remember the last time that we've had quality DC era of movies. It really was even before the MCU was really booming. It was around the time of The Dark Knight that we really were getting like high quality DC movies, and it's been a very long time since we've had consistently good DC movies. We've had a couple of gems here and there in the established DCEU, but most of those were not by Snyder, and if they were spread out far in between. Also, the way Warner Brothers has mismanaged its DC universe, with it rushing and trying to catch up with Marvel and not having a clear, direct vision, has really hurt the franchise far more than they could have imagined. So, with James Gunn jumping in and trying to fix, well, not really fix, but give his own take on the DC universe and start over and start anew and start something fresh and different, and going back to these characters' roots of what makes them who they are, there's a lot of concern with that. I mean, there's a lot of lost trust in DC because of what they've done with their DCEU, from mishandling its cast members to outright doing Henry Cavill dirty. And then suddenly we have a newer Superman coming out after Cavill was fired. There's a lot of bad blood between the fans and, well, James Gunn, even though he hasn't done anything wrong. And then, of course, we got the new costume reveal for Superman. And it may not have been the best image for the costume, because I remember after that point, everybody had started the hate train for this movie after this point, saying it's going to be awful. And it's only gotten worse, especially with newer teasers that they've had of Superman flying, a couple of questionable shots in my opinion, but every shot outside of that with the suit has looked pretty good, and I'm really enjoying the direction with the story that they're going with this newer version. So why do people hate this so much when it seems to be giving us the more traditional Superman and classical version of the character that was missing from the Snyder movies? Well, it's because maybe a bit far too soon as well. He needs to establish trust in the DC universe in order for people to accept it, and this film has to do well, which is why it's so important, is because if this film does not do well, there is no DC universe movies after this. This is the one that they need to establish people and bring them back into DC, and if they can't do it with this film, that's going to be a major loss for Warner Brothers. Downfall. I've never seen a film with so many people poking and pointing and making fun of it as much as this film, praying for its downfall, which, speaking just face to face with you guys, that's wrong. I would never want to pray on a film's downfall unless it was truly, truly awful. But this is not something that is truly, truly awful. It's not like the Sony Spider-Man-less universe. This is something that's strictly traditional Superman, and James Gunn is trying to give that to us, and every time he releases new news about this movie, people hate the mess out of it for no reason. And I've never seen so much preying on a movie's downfall as much as Superman 2025. It's crazy, in my opinion. We ask for us to get something good and unique and different, and then when James Gunn, who is a trusted director, I mean, he hasn't made a bad superhero film. He takes a shot at Superman, then all of a sudden, oh, it's the worst thing on planet Earth. Do we forget who James Gunn is? He directed the Guardians trilogy, which is one of the best trilogies in the MCU, right next to Captain America. But then all of a sudden, we get this weird flying image, and it's like, oh, James Gunn's gonna ruin this movie, ruin this franchise, even though when he was announced to be the new head, we were all excited. Needs to succeed. James Gunn's Superman needs to exceed. That's why it's so important. And also, it needs to reestablish the Superman in this universe as being the symbol of hope. It's the symbol of hope for this movie, and it's also the symbol of hope for this new DC universe. That's why this movie is so important. I mean, again, if this film doesn't succeed, if this film doesn't provide the roadmap that they want for the future DC universe, there's no DC universe. If this film does bad and people don't like it, there's no DC universe. And establishing a Superman that's relatable and that audiences can confirm that they love or enjoy is the main ingredient to making this all succeed. And I think so far from what we've seen with the trailer of Superman Legacy, or retitled Superman, we've gotten that. I mean, this is a very relatable Superman. You have him with man's best friend in the movie. You have him being a lot more of the Christopher Reeve-ish, goofy Clark Kent that's a good disguise. You have him beginning the trailer in a beaten up, weakened state. How many Superman movies have you seen where their opening shot of the trailer is your Superman getting Yamcha'd? That's much more relatable. It's hard to write a relatable Superman movie with his invulnerability, but James Gunn, if anybody could do it, is him. He knows how to write vulnerability in the invulnerability sometimes. Rocket Raccoon, he seemed like an emotional douche in the first two Guardians movies, but once you saw the third movie, you completely understand why he was like that in the prior two movies. If anybody can make Superman succeed, make the DCU succeed, it's him. And Superman Legacy is probably the most important superhero movie in a long time. And I, for one, am still looking forward to it despite the unreasonable amount of hate that's been received for this movie. And you can hate me, you can call me a unrealistic optimist even, but I'm not even a big Superman fan. I grew up loving Batman and Spider-Man and, of course, the Hulk. But when I saw the opening shot of the trailer with Superman beat up, that was such a unique and bold choice that I was like, James Gunn might be on to something here, and he might be giving me a Superman that I personally can relate to. But all in all, I mean, that's just my opinion, I guess.